Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you like being scammed, used, exploited, taken for a chump, played like a cheap fiddle? Yeah, I didn't think so. So let me help you understand how the media and some politicians are trying to manipulate you by using the term racist. Now, here's what the dictionary states as the definition of racism, and I quote, "A belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race," end quote. Now think about that carefully. If a person believes that one's race is the primary factor in determining the abilities of a person, the worth of a person, or potential as a person, and that some races are inherently superior to others, that is in fact racism. Racism is thinking someone of another race isn't naturally as smart, moral, or able to achieve. It's thinking one's own race is just better and superior. It might manifest itself in forcing children of a different race into inferior schools, not allowing them into the same restaurants, hotels, theaters, sporting events, or churches. That is racism. And it's evil, immoral, sinful. Because to say God made people of another race, but He doesn't love one race as much as another, is a disgusting affront to His Word. Racism is the belief of fools who understand God even less than they understand human beings. It's intellectually dishonest, it's morally repugnant, and it's indefensible. So when politicians or fake news anchors toss out the term racist to describe the president or anyone with whom they disagree, here's the question. Did the person accused of racism say or do something that indicates that race is the primary reason that someone or even something is the way it is? You see, when President Trump called out Baltimore for the urban plight of rats and trash piling up in the streets, is that a statement about race or a statement of the gross mismanagement of a once great city? Bernie Sanders said Baltimore was like a third world country, but no one called him a racist. The African-American mayor of Baltimore said that she could smell the rats as she toured parts of her own city. And the local paper, the Baltimore Sun, spoke of the disgusting filth and the rat infestation that had piled up. So is the mayor a racist? The local paper a racist paper? Congressman Elijah Cummings, who represents Baltimore, said his own city was drug-infested. So is he a racist? If not, why not? I mean, if they say the same thing the president said, why would the media or other politicians call him a racist? I'm going to tell you the answer is really simple. Because they think you're stupid and that you cannot see through the attempt to lie to you. Racism is real for a small number of very small-minded people. And we ought to recognize when it really does exist, and we absolutely should condemn it. But screaming racist just to create a distraction or to falsely label someone, that's a weak replacement for honest debate and seeking solutions for real problems. Yelling racism has become a cheap political trick, but it only works if you fall for it. I personally think you're too smart to be hoodwinked by such nonsense. Now, if the president really is a racist, here's my question. Why did most of the Democrat politicians take political contributions from Donald Trump when he was just a New York businessman? Why did they invite him to their personal social events or attend one or more of his weddings? Because he's had a few. Let's be honest. Now, does that make them racist for associating with one? Or do they really want us to believe that he wasn't a racist then, but somehow at the age of 72, when he was elected president, he also suddenly and without warning became one? Seriously? Look, the president can be rude, crude, and impolite. He's brash sometimes. I mean, he's even vulgar, but that's not racist. Under him, unemployment for people of color is at an all-time historic low. He has a long history of not caring about white or black. Quite frankly, he's got a history, mostly, just seeing green. Now, that may not be a good measuring stick for the value of others, but it sure isn't racist. Don't allow yourself to get lied to about racism. We need all of us to fight it, and we all ought to hate it. But we don't need to cheapen racism to mean everything, because then it means nothing.